Here's the quick and easy way to include and exclude brand terms inside of Google Ads for search campaigns, Performance Max, and shopping. Okay, so all you have to do is go inside of your Google Ads account and head over to Tools. Once you're in there, we'll want to expand the shared library like so, and then click on Brand Lists. And so from here, you can add your terms for the brand you represent and also your competitor terms in a separate list. So you might want to separate them and go competitors, and then just go ham on like typing in all your competitors. Maybe you've got a competitor here, X, Y, and Z, and you just add them and click save. You just come back here every time you got a new competitor showing up in a search terms report, and you really don't want them showing up in your ads, or you're bidding on their brands by accident. You might want to do that, right? And then from there, we'll go into this one because this is our brand, the one we're representing. And we can see that it's applied to, or in this case, it's excluded from a lot of different campaigns here. So it's excluded from all these, so the Performance Max, so it doesn't show up in shopping ads. But we've got a branded search here and we're including it so that our branded search can be even more powerful. So we're, not only are we bidding on our brand keywords in this campaign, but we're also going one step further and, we created this brand list for this brand and made it an inclusion. And it's actually quite easy, so all you have to do to include it or exclude it once you've created both your lists is that you go into the campaign that you're having trouble with. So or you want to enhance it even further. Like if it's a Performance Max and you don't want to bid on any of your brand terms because you don't want it to overlap on your brand campaign, you simply, if I went too fast there, you click on the cog button that you see in all campaigns view. You scroll down, click additional settings. From here, you got brand exclusions, and then you simply just put your brand in here, right? And once you create your competitor list as well, you might want to put that in there just so you don't want to intercept competitors, because sometimes what happens is people will search for your competitors' brands specifically, and they're like in hunt mode. That's all they're looking for. And so if you piss them off by intercepting, sometimes it can, really affect your ads and you're not going to convert that many people. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you intercept and you get a new client and you steal clients from, your competitors. Everyone's different, right? It depends how you want to play it. But if you've got the branded search here, right, in the search campaign or an AI Max or whatever, you go into your additional settings, then you go into your brands and then use it as an inclusion, not an exclusion, right? So you want to include it every time someone types in your brand, etc., and it's affiliated with this website, which we'll go into in a second. So the issue with this though, if you do include your brand in here, it will switch your search campaign from phrase and exact, which you're probably using, to a broad. If you are a bit risk adverse, you might want to run an experiment first, and so you might want to duplicate that campaign, and then you run a custom experiment, and the only change you make is that you turn it on for one campaign for brand inclusions with broad match turned on, because it will ask you, and then for the other campaign you leave it as is with no inclusions and see how they go. Just pit them against each other for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, etc. Now, one thing if you've still got time, one thing I didn't mention is if you go into the brand lists, what if your brand isn't in here and why isn't your brand showing up? So sometimes what you'll find, see how there's a hyphen between, or you probably don't see it because it's blurred, but there's a hyphen between this brand name, and that's because it's case sensitive. So if you actually go to find your brand and I put a space between the words of the brand, it will not show up. It's annoying, right? But so you got to be very careful that it is that it is case sensitive and it's very, very specific. So I literally have to put a hyphen in there just for it to show up because it's not smart enough to know semantic language yet in the back end for some reason. Don't know why. So then just go, yep, that's the one because it's affiliated with this URL. Great. Now, if your brand isn't in here, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like if I go my brand, I haven't put it in here yet. So I go request the brand. I put in my name. That's my name. Go service, go find my website URL, paste that in, and then I'll type in any misspellings. So JR marketing, which is a misspelling, and then I go submit, and then it could take 1 to 2 weeks. Google says 2 to 4 weeks before it's approved, etc. But this is kind of necessary evil for now until Google has a full database of all these brands out there that's associated correctly. Okay, so that's the only thing. So that's how you brand inclusions and exclusions, right? So quite simple. But to summarize, the reasons why you'd want to do this or use brand exclusions or inclusions, if you've got a brand campaign and you don't want your Performance Max or other campaigns overlapping with that brand campaign, which I kind of mentioned. If you've got really great SEO, so you've earned your own brand name and you're ranking #1 for all your brand terms organically, then you might not want to waste money on ads showing your brand. So you might want to exclude your brand from all your ads. If you're a local business, like a plumber, we find a lot of your competitors will show up in your search terms report. If you bid on terms like plumber Brisbane, right? Emergency plumber in Brisbane, sometimes you'll find even if you're using exact match or phrase match, your competitors still show up in your search terms report. So what you'll want to do in that instance is exclude your competitors from your search campaigns itself. So that's why you might want to do that. Lastly, I explained this one, whereas if you've got a brand campaign and you want to work a little bit more smoothly, you can add it as an inclusion for your brand terms, but with the caveat that broad match will be switched on, which sucks, but test it out. Who knows if it works for you? It's a relatively new feature anyway. So I hope this goes well for you. If you've got any questions, leave them for me below. More than happy to answer them, and I'll see you in the next video.